These are my slow cooked beef short ribs, creamy Hellim mashed potatoes and braised cabbage and peas. The beauty about batch cooking is you only need to cook once, but you get 2 delicious meals out of it. One of my favourite cuts of meat to cook with are beef short ribs. Cook them low and slow and they're absolutely delicious. However, I don't just cook one batch at a time, I double up so that I've got enough meat to make 2 or 3 different recipes with. I'm going to start by seasoning the short ribs first. I'm just using sea salt because I find if you season with black pepper at this stage, the black pepper tends to burn. I don't want to overcrowd the pan. I want to get a lovely colour on those ribs. So just go in with a couple at a time, and it's really important that you sear all 6 sides of the short ribs so that you can really maximise the flavour in this dish. Okay, I've seared the short ribs and I'm going to go into the hot oil with mushrooms. If you overcrowd the pan, they won't get a lovely colour on them. Once they're in the pan, don't touch them too much. Let them do their thing. The mushrooms are done, so these can now join the ribs. There's still enough fat or oil in the pan, so I'm going to go in with some finely chopped onions, carrots and celery. But honestly, whatever you have, use up those ingredients from your fridge. These will add the flavour base to the short ribs, and also if we're going to use some of these ingredients in say another recipe with some leftover short ribs, we can really bulk up the base. I'm going to add the garlic cloves. I've left them whole, I've bashed them. I don't put them in with the vegetables because I don't want them to burn and turn bitter. And I'm also adding some fresh herbs. This is beef stock, I've got Worcestershire sauce, pomegranate molasses, I've got some gravy granules and tomato puree going straight in. A lovely, rich sauce that will really flavour up those short ribs. The sauce is now bubbling, so I'm going to attempt to pour this into the casserole dish. Wish me luck. Look at that. Okay, so the short ribs are now in the oven on the true fan setting at 160 degrees centigrade. I'm going to cook them low and slow for about 4 hours. You cannot overcook these ribs, but you can undercook them. So give them time, pour yourself a cup of tea or a glass of wine and relax and let them do their thing. Look at those. So I'm going to take the short ribs out of the dish now and we're going to let them rest, but do not throw the golden vegetables at the bottom of this pan. They are going to add so much flavour to another dish. To go with the beef short ribs, I'm making some creamy Hellim mashed potatoes. My potatoes are now boiling, so it's the perfect time to make a delicious side dish. I'm making some braised cabbage and peas. I'm going to saute these onions off in some olive oil. I'm just going to add a pinch of salt now. It really helps those onions soften down. I'm going to give them about 10 to 12 minutes until they're caramelised and soft and jammy. I'm going to remove them from the pan so that they don't burn when I cook the cabbage. I want to get a lovely char on this cabbage, and the beauty about these AEG induction hobs is that they're really easy to control, they're incredibly precise and they're incredibly reactive too. Once you've got the cabbage in the pan, just leave it. Don't touch it, you'll be tempted to, but you really want the underside to char. Once it's charred, then you can give it a really good stir. I'm now happy with the colour of the cabbage, so I'm going to add the peas to the pan. And so I'm stirring through some grated garlic. I'm going to add those onions back to the pan, add some black pepper, and one of my favourite ingredients, which is dried mint. And now I'm going to go in with some chicken stock. Now the heat needs to be high for this. You want that stock to really reduce down. And I'm just going to add a knob of butter to finish. Okay, I've mashed my potatoes. I've actually mashed them through a sieve because it gives them a lovely creamy texture. I've got some melted butter and warm milk. It just keeps the mashed potatoes hot, and I've infused that with a bay leaf, so that goes in first. I'm going to go in with a pinch of black pepper, a pinch of salt, and I've got 2 of perhaps the most important ingredients, which are Hellim or halloumi cheese and grana padano. You can use pecorino romano, you could use some parmesan, it's completely up to you. Okay, everything is ready. My short ribs have rested. I've strained the cooking juices from the casserole dish into this bowl, and I've kept these delicious vegetables because these are going to be added to another dish. So there you have it. These are my slow cooked beef short ribs, creamy Helen mashed potatoes and braised cabbage and peas. Enjoy.